Hey everyone, welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast and all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a very special guest, preferred guest on the show. Returning, we have the one and only Summer Rain. How's it going, Summer?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Always glad to have you, always, forever and ever, Summer. You are here to talk Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3 came out. It's been out a week and a half, give or take some time. That's going to be our main segment. Talk all about our limited exposure of a couple of hours here or there on Bayonetta 3. In the news, we're also going to cover Indie World. Got announced. You maybe have already watched it or have heard of it. We're going to talk about it just a little. Some drama around the Mario Party composer. Pac-Man 99 news. They finally reached a lot of downloads. Stay tuned to the news to hear the exact number. Sonic Frontiers and a whole lot more. How is everyone doing?
Doing okay, yeah. Daylight savings has happened, which throws me all out of whack.
Fuck that shit.
Okay.
Me too.
What the other
Patrick,
night?
wow. Tell us more.
Yeah,
I dislike it.
Yeah.
yeah. It needs to not be a thing anymore. 2 a.m. part 2. I've had enough of it. A single night should not have 2 a.m.s. I believe we
Right?
can all agree
It's like,
on that.
Here is an extra hour of sleep in exchange for extra depression for 4 months.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nah.
And then also like animals and all sorts of things that don't understand that, begging for food. I know
Yes.
my cat, like that. It's just, and then
Oh my God, it's the worst. I'm reading this book called Red Mars. Okay, I'll be off of this in a second. But their solution to this problem on Mars is every night there's like 15 minutes of slip time.
Yeah, I'm into
where
it.
you're just out of time, where it's like it becomes midnight and then 15 minutes later it's 12:01, and it's like a time where everybody just parties because there's no responsibilities.
Okay, I'm on board.
We should do that.
All right, slip time. Here. If you all want slip time, say aye.
I
Aye. Okay. Well, thank you, listener, for saying aye too. I'm good over here. I've been doing a lot of writing. I have a sketch comedy show coming up. One of our first sketch shows, Fallout Theater, happening on Wednesday. So if you're listening to this, come to Fallout Theater Wednesday at 9:30. Got some funny bits in there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, day of.
Day of the podcast.
Turn this podcast off. Go camp outside the theater so you can get first in line.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Summer, how you doing?
I'm doing good. This weekend I did a charity stream on
Yay.
Saturday, or I streamed all day long to raise money for Extra Life. It was their day of play, and all proceeds went towards Children's Miracle Network, which is, for medical procedures for children to make sure that they have the funds to get those done. And we raised over $200 on my channel. So that's
Very good.
fun and exciting. Yeah. So I had a good weekend. I'm doing
Yeah, that was a fun stream to pop into every once in a while.
David, thank you for supporting me. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Let's talk about our shout outs. So we did a special episode last week. And prior to that, we did a regular episode on Aero GPX. We got lots of comments on both of these episodes, so I'm picking and choosing here. But on the Aero GPX, Bad 1080 said, finally a game worthy of carrying the torch for the F-Zero style games. Also on that episode, David, you mentioned the game Faith.
Yeah.
And the dev for that showed up in the YouTube comments, Airdorf Games, saying thanks for the shout out.
Very good. Yeah, it's a really cool game. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, we got lots more comments on that, and always lots of great discussion over in the Discord about both of these topics. People sharing their trivia scores. I feel like DCD claimed to get the highest.
I think he was lying.
Yeah, I said claimed. There's just an inherent doubt, right? Like
There were hard questions. I really went into it. Okay, like when I found out that was the topic, I was like, oh, great, I get to watch three guys who host a Nintendo podcast not know anything about Nintendo. But then I didn't know anything either.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
I picked some hard ones. I think we got lots of notes on that, and lots of enthusiastic support. Like Hans Guger said, "Great game, do more." Andrew Valentine said, "This was amazing. Want more quizzes, prizes, forfeits, teams, guest quizmasters, music rounds." And I think we'll definitely take some of the feedback we got.
Yeah. We're going to
and
pivot this
retool
entire podcast
show,
into a
yeah.
trivia show.
Which means next week we're doing all Xenoblade, the whole episode. Xenoblade trivia just coming right to you.
Honestly, it's a deep well to mine, right? Like, because there's so many different Nintendo IPs we could do specific. And that's what I found in writing the questions. Like there's just so much to pull from.
Yeah, I think for me, I was like, some of the good ones that I heard was like doing like multiple choice, I think would be nice next time.
Yes,
at least
please.
for difficult questions like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Typos brought up like whiteboards and us having like 15 seconds each to
And then show your
respond.
answer,
Yeah, and then if you can't pull it, then you're just like kind of fucked. You know what I mean? So I think there's lots of cool stuff that we'll tweak for the next time.
Let's just do all types. We'll do like a spot the difference. We'll do fill in the blank. We'll do a word definition matching. Let's do all the different quiz questions.
into it.
Yeah. Lots we can do there, and I'm sure we'll do another one at some point. So if you gave us a comment and I didn't read it out, sorry, but we've been getting a lot of them, which is wonderful. Please keep sending in your thoughts on the episode. So if you have any thoughts on anything we say today, please share it with us. Please, share our podcast too. If you got a friend that likes Nintendo, tell them about it. And then also remember to like and subscribe over on YouTube. And check out the video version. We're doing lots of cool video stuff, right?
Video version is the best version of the podcast, gang.
Yep. And then let's do it. Let's talk about our weekly news roundup here. We've got Black Friday coming up. So Nintendo has already announced their some of their deals for Black Friday, at least if not all of them. So if you've been waiting for one of the sort of big tentpole Nintendo games that's been out for a while and you didn't want to pay $60 for it, this might be your time, right? There's a number of Switch games that'll be on sale for $40. Some of those big ones like Mario Party Superstars, Breath of the Wild, if you never played that, or Animal Crossing New Horizons, a bunch more. So that's definitely worth checking out. And also if you listen to this and you don't have a Switch, it's probably the time to pick one up, right? Like get one with Mario Kart. They always have the Mario Kart bundle.
Yeah.
Probably
I just can't believe they're still doing this. Like
the Mario Kart bundle.
Yeah, it's the Mario Kart bundled with the non-OLED Switch. It's like the original
They're trying
Switch.
to move those.
Yeah, because I thought that was the whole reason they made the OLED is they were trying to be done with the original.
Yeah.
Not make it anymore.
I guess.
Well,
I just think it's fun. I just wish they would do any other bundle. Like they've only done this Mario Kart bundle ever.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to do a Switch Sports bundle, right? I was really hoping to see one of those this holiday season, but alas, they haven't sold quite enough of that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so they gotta move a couple more copies.
I mean, I guess they figure that if you're gonna buy a Switch, you're gonna buy Mario Kart 8, and that's like a very tempting thing, or that there are a lot of people that might buy it for that if they haven't already bought in. I don't know what they're thinking, but speaking of Mario Kart 8, are we gonna get those tracks? Like, is this the holiday season? They said holiday.
Yeah. That some of the tracks that they teased, or one of them was specifically like holiday themed. So that I feel like indicated we'd get it before Christmas.
Yeah.
I bet it'll come like early December.
Early December.
That would be my guess. Yeah. I'd love it sooner, but
yeah.
I got a feeling
we gotta wait.
The main thing this month is going to be Pokemon, right? And then
that's
early in December, we'll get the Mario Kart 8 tracks.
Okay. On the day this podcast comes out, there's a Indie World showcase. So by the time this podcast comes out, you've already heard about it. So we won't talk about it now unless anybody wants to make a prediction that will instantly be verified or failed.
It comes out at the exact same time of this podcast. So if you've seen it already, we know where your allegiance lies.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
As a Nintendo podcast, yeah, that makes sense.
I love indie worlds, man. I love indie games. I love seeing a nice showcase of cool new games. Maybe we'll see Aero GPX in there. You know what I mean? Maybe Aaron McDevitt was being coy with us when we had him on the show. Yeah.
Pac-Man 99, the game that I forgot about, has apparently reached 9 million downloads. They made this announcement and they put the DLC on sale, which I guess isn't the DLC mostly just skins, or is it other
cosmetic
stuff?
A lot of it is. I think there's a couple modes in it, right?
I thought all the modes were included.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know Tetris 99 has like full modes that are behind the
maybe
the
you can play like
Right.
a regular Pac-Man or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not even. I wish. I wish that, because that was one in Tetris 99. You could just play
play
regular ass Tetris. Yeah.
That's why I said that, but yeah. Well,
I got the DLC like really early because I was really hyped on this game when it came out, and then I played it for about 48 hours, and that was about it. Not like total, but over the course of 48 hours, and then never touched it again.
I was just gonna say, Summer, you're amazing at this game. I remember watching you play this game on stream and just crushing it.
So, and what's funny is, so I did play it a lot. I haven't played it in a long time, but when this news came out, I found out about it because someone who also watched my streams tagged me in the news, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll play again because I feel confident enough that maybe among the people who might actually enter this, that I could maybe do okay in something like that. So, yeah, I might actually play it again for this.
Yeah, this has got me like wanting to play it again. It is a very fun game.
Mhm.
And honestly, this has been kind of the year of Pac-Man in a weird way. I mean, I think it is the 25th anniversary this year, or 30th anniversary, or whatever, 35th, 40th? I don't know. It's a big anniversary for Pac-Man this year.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. And, you know, Pac-Man World, Repack.
Oh, there were a lot of games. That's right.
That's right. Came out. The Pac-Man arcade collection thing came out. There's been a lot of really great Pac-Man stuff this year. And Pac-Man is like, don't sleep on Pac-Man. He's one of the OGs, and he's really cool.
Yeah. Next up, the Mario Party game that came, the original Mario Party came to NSO, and when that happened, one of the composers for that, or the composer for that game, Yasunori Mitsuda, also known for what game?
Chrono Cross?
Yeah, or
Chrono Trigger?
I don't.
Xenogears? Yeah, a lot.
Wait, I didn't know Yasunori Mitsuda did the Mario Party soundtrack.
Yeah, he
Holy
did.
shit.
And not only that, but the most
Right.
interesting part of this news, this fascinating news, when this came out, he like tweeted about it, and he said that apparently it was kind of a bad experience. I think it was his first or one of his first games. I just might have made that up.
It was his
But
first freelance gig after leaving Square, is what this
Okay.
website says.
So
Yeah.
like, not his first, but his first freelance gig, that he made over 200 songs that were rejected. That's nuts for lots of reasons. Like, who was listening to these songs and not giving him better notes? But they told him to make jazz music, and he made 200 jazz songs that they just didn't like. And then he eventually asked for more clarification. They wanted like specifically big band jazz or something. I don't know. This is all through translations.
His was all like acid fusion jazz that was like really too hard for the N64's chipset. Yeah.
It's just nuts to me that they would reject that many. Like, I don't know.
Do you think he like accidentally hit the 0 number too long, like on his keyboard when he was typing this tweet?
200. I don't know. I don't know. I could see him cranking out tunes and sending them over, and I don't know.
Over 200 is insane.
That's
like
wild.
that makes me think
Yeah.
that something was wrong with his composing. Like that, there's no way.
Or that the director was terrible. Like that.
One or
they
the
couldn't
other.
just be like, "Hey, let's have a meeting." Or
Right.
something. Right?
Yeah.
Like
something was off with communication, or that's a lot. That is
Yeah,
a lot.
because you get to like 20, you're like, fuck this. But then What do you feel? What are your
Yeah.
feelings like when you jump from like 20 rejections or 50 rejections to 200? Like, what's that do to a person?
This is
And
like
for the same game. Like at that point, like why didn't they find a different composer
Yeah.
if they didn't like it that
Yeah.
much? I don't understand.
It's baffling because I mean, I'm also thinking about me right now who's working with a composer for my game, and like the idea of, I mean, it's a different scale and scope, right? I'm not Nintendo. They can say no.
But this was also
200
20 years ago.
Like, it's insane if that's true.
that's
I mean,
that's the definition of Sisyphusian. I would say, just like constantly rolling back down that hill. Well, you know what this says to me is that somewhere in a vault there's like a treasure trove of Yasunori Mitsuda songs that we've never heard.
Right. That's
That
what
are
I
probably the
wanna know.
best thing of all time.
Yeah, they
But
probably
just
are good.
not the exact genre of big band jazz that Nintendo wanted.
Or did they like use them in other games? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. If it's a really nice peek behind the window there of like, I mean, also, but you know, Nintendo cancels whole games, right? Like, it's crazy to me the amount of work that they might that exists that never sees the light of day, especially
Yeah.
in games.
Yeah. TIL, man. I had no idea Mitsuda-san did the fucking music for this game. That's incredible.
Moving on to Splatoon. Hey, it's Splatfest weekend, everybody. Second official Splatfest for Splatoon 3 is happening this weekend. So everybody in the Switch Headz Discord is going Team Grass, right?
Matt, you picked grass this time?
I haven't picked
he's
yet.
going
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You gonna play with us, Matt?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So if you want to play with us, definitely come join the Discord. I know I will be playing some this weekend. Yeah. I'm
The
excited.
Splatfest preview is currently live as well. So if you want to get some games in before the Splatfest, you can get your tea right now and start grinding out ability chunks from your Splatfest tea already. And I think that the more people that play in a Splatfest preview like adds to the
Yep.
the
'Cause you can
overall score at the
collect-
end, right?
You collect. You can start collecting the shells, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
And you
right.
can use them on the capsule machine.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah.
Yep.
'Cause I
and
forgot
you
about
get
that.
points for that kind of stuff, or your team
Mhm.
does. or
The number of
whatever.
those that you collect helps too.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like we're nearing the point in this game's life already where the majority of time that I play this game will be during Splatfest.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But it's exciting. It's like great. I love that they're around because it always gives me a reason to go back and play it.
Yeah. I was gonna say that we will stop probably reporting on this kind of stuff for that reason that you just mentioned, though I am still wholly addicted to this game. But you know, they've been pushing out lots of updates, and they've in the past couple of weeks they've done some just lots of little fixes that they say in the notes. But yeah, this game's still getting lots of little patches.
Can't wait for
And
that
there's
first big
Splatfest.
content update, man.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting.
Next
Mhm.
catalog.
what that
I'm
is.
ready.
Yeah.
You think it'll
Yeah,
tie
you're
in
probably
with
I
that?
bet it will be around the time of the catalog being over.
I
Yeah.
just maxed out my second catalog
Oh my.
this weekend. I told myself after I completed my first catalog that I could stop playing so much.
Yeah.
And I clearly worked because I just maxed my second catalog.
Wow, I'm
So-
impressed
I'm
by that.
I'm at 85 on my first catalog.
Oh,
Very nice.
When
I'm
you
at
hit
20
level-
something on the second one.
yeah, there you go.
Got to get that dab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, level 100, you get the 3 sunglasses
hideous.
stacked. Yeah, I will never wear them. They're ugly. That's why I'm like, I'm ready for the next catalog, so I know. So I get some new stuff.
Moving away from Nintendo for a bit, PlayStation announced the price of the PlayStation VR 2, PSVR 2, whatever this thing's called, the VR headset that works with PlayStation 5. Pretty pricey.
I'd love to call it PSVR 2.
We'll call it that because that's what it's called.
Yeah.
$550 coming out February 23. What do y'all think? Is that ridiculous? I don't know. It's expensive.
It's definitely sticker shock. That is a very large number. That is more than the price of a PlayStation 5, which in itself is very expensive. So yeah, it's a lot. Matt, you're the resident VR expert. What do you think about this?
I think I'm a little burned on that PSVR doesn't allow you to play PSVR games.
Very confusing.
What?
The PSVR 2 is not backwards
yes,
compatible
yeah,
with
right.
PSVR games.
Can't play PSVR games on PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Why haven't they learned their lesson on that? What?
It's a great question.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
like-
Maybe this will be it. That high price combined with that fact, combined with how hard it is to get your hand on a PlayStation 5.
Although there are millions
Getting
and
better, but
there's like 20 or 30 million, right? PS5s out there right now. Like there's,
Is it?
Yeah.
we're getting to the point where it's a lot of people. I mean, it's not PS4 numbers, obviously, and it's only been out for a couple of years, but it's like, it's not nearly as hard to get a PS5 these days. But
I was told that when you go to Best Buy, you're supposed to look up. Is that they don't put it, they keep them up. They don't put them like in the case anymore. And that's so they don't get people like, oh my God, will you get the PS5 out of the case for me? Like, it's so that like, it's not as much of a freak out, I guess, but apparently they are showing up more in like Best Buy and Walmart.
the bundle, like the Horizon bundle, that's like $550, is pretty regularly available on their website. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, compare this to like the Vive, right? Or the not the Vive, but rather the Index, right? The Index is $1,000, right? That's $1,000 device.
That's right.
Now that's room scale VR, which I don't think the PS VR 2 is. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure.
But I mean, also in that case, if you've got a big, powerful gaming PC, you've probably spent more than a PS5 already, right? So it's just hard to really compare. I know the first PSVR was a lot cheaper. It had a lot worse components in it. Like this is basically 2 4K monitors strapped to your face, right? Like this is. I get why it's an expensive piece of tech, but it's like, it's a tough pill to swallow, and the launch lineup kind of sucks, right? So without like any big killer apps,
and you have to buy new
hard
games.
bargain. Yeah,
yeah. I hope someone buys it so I can play it and then I never talk about it ever again. But one of the big rumors for PSVR 2 was that Half-Life Alyx was coming to PSVR 2. And so it wasn't announced here. Probably won't be announced by the end of the year, but we'll see what the new year holds.
It feels like a whiff, man. I feel like a lot more people would be excited if that was a launch title. That's definitely the killer app for VR right now.
Yeah,
still, since it's come out. Yeah.
It's so good. Man, Half-Life Alyx is so good.
I hope to play it one day.
Yeah.
All right, this next news item is a fun one, if not scary. But NASCAR. We're talking about NASCAR.
What topic we are all experts on.
Yeah, so forgive the ignorance here, but NASCAR is a racing thing that exists.
Okay, you don't
America.
have to. You don't have to qualify it that much, Patrick. Okay. I think people are.
So
aware.
there are these things called cars.
Let them finish.
Right,
Let them finish.
And sometimes they make left turns.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, in a NASCAR race, there's a driver named Ross Chastain who pulled a crazy move where he basically was in 10th place and apparently just went off kind of towards the side and just rode the wall, let his car probably just hit the pedal and let his car.
Yeah, he let go of the wheel. Yeah,
let the wall guide him and shot up from 10th to whatever to finish at the end decently, I guess.
I think he finished at 4th, which qualified him.
Yeah, qualified.
Yeah,
and then, in the post race interview, they asked him about it. And he said he did it in a racing game, a NASCAR racing game on the GameCube.
Yeah. I think it was NASCAR 2005. Is that what he said? For the GameCube. Yeah.
And that's where he had the idea for this. I
mean, we've all done that. Anybody who's played Daytona or any of the NASCAR games,
or any racing game, where you just ride the wall.
Yeah. Basically, the idea being everybody's in 4th gear or something like that, in trying to like not hit anybody, and he just went into fifth gear so he could just gun it. But you have no control, so he just like let the wall guide him. And apparently, and the thing, he was like, I wanted to see if it worked, and it turns out it works.
Really, really interesting. I think it was Lee who shared this in our Discord of like, what other video game things could people start doing in real? Like, I think it's interesting. It's funny, and also like probably that was very dangerous. I don't know, like, right?
Some guy in like a war zone is going to be like, I only reload my gun like this.
I learned this from Fortnite. Yeah.
I slap the magazine until I get a new one.
We're going to see a bunch of U.S. military people just flossing on the battlefield.
Oh, no. The enemy's like too confused.
Like, all right. Guess we're friends now.
Oh, boy. That was not where I was thinking of, but yeah.
Okay.
No, that's great.
This just in. Patrick hates the military.
I do.
Oh, yeah. You were talking about
He hates
sports.
veterans.
News. I kind of do. No, I don't hate veterans, but I mean, like,
It's complicated, and I understand what you're saying.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't hate veterans.
Listening to some of the commentary or like the pit crew like watch this driver do this move against the wall, they're like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like over and over again. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty amazing. Life imitating art.
Yeah.
If you could call NASCAR 2005 for the GameCube
art. It's art. Video games are art. Including NASCAR ones. Moving on.
What's NASCAR?
We're done with
There are
the
these vehicles that Sonic Frontiers, we'll talk about that. That's coming out this weekend, right? Or what, the 8th? Tomorrow. So yeah, by the time this podcast releases, it's not out by the time we're recording, but by the time the podcast is out, it's out. So this game has looked interesting. It's getting sort of decent reviews, mixed reviews, kind of like critical of the open world aspect seems to be maybe the quote unquote bad part of this, or the like not perfect execution. I don't know. David, do you want to?
I mean, I think people are divided, right? I mean, this game is getting 9 out of 10s and like 1 out of 5s, right? Like this game is really running the gamut here on what people think. And I've seen people say that the open world feels hackneyed and a little tacked on, and then I've heard other people say that the open world is like by far the best part of the game. So I think this is going to come down a lot to preference on if you like this, what kind of Sonic games you like. But then also it seems like this game is not without all of the problems that have plagued Sonic games, 3D Sonic games specifically, forever, which is it's glitchy, it's got problems with the camera, it's sometimes the physics feels wonky. But I mean, what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that like it's still a fun game, if not like frustrating at times, right? I think I'm bought in on it. Like after reading these reviews, like I mean, I keep doing this. I bought like Sonic Colors, like I pre-ordered it, and I felt like such an idiot after that because that port was bad, especially on the Switch. But I'm very interested to see, before I buy this, I want to see how it plays on Steam Deck. Because I think I've even seen that it's currently unsupported on Steam Deck, but then I've been hearing from a couple YouTubers that they've been playing it on Steam Deck. So I know it's going to be like capped at 30 FPS on Switch, and this definitely seems like one you would want running at a nice 60 frames per second. So we'll have to see how the performance is before I jump in on this one.
This looks fun. I think I read a couple of reviews, watched a few reviews on YouTube. While I was watching it, I was like, that game looks fun to play. And not every game has to be an incredible game. It can just be like fun and enjoyable.
Totally. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm into these days. And I'm going to pick up Sonic Frontiers.
Oh, nice.
David, what are you going to play it on?
The Steam Deck, probably.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
Yeah. Why? What were you going to say?
I don't know.
He was going to play your copy.
I want to play your copy. Yeah.
Oh, well, let's share Steam accounts.
All right. It's a
You do
deal.
that.
Well, last up is that Bayonetta 3 came out. We're going to talk all about Bayonetta 3 in just a minute, but maybe we can just mention that it's reviewing pretty well. The Metacritic score is 87. That's not bad.
That's good. In fact,
that's not bad. That's good. So it's reviewing pretty decently. So we're going to give our thoughts on Bayonetta 3 after the break. All right, we're back this week. We're talking about Bayonetta 3. The game just came out on the Switch, and most of us have played it, myself excluded. This game was announced a long time ago, right? It's been a long time coming. I don't even remember when it was, but it was at the Game Awards, like 2018 or something like that. It feels like. I could be wrong about that. But anyway,
sounds about right.
So why don't we just kind of start with maybe general impressions? How are y'all feeling about Bayonetta 3 with your time with it?
I fucking love it. It's so much fun. This is why I play video games. It's so over the top and ridiculous and silly. I'm having a great time. I am upset at myself that this is my first entry into Bayonetta franchise. There's so much to offer. It's so ridiculous.
What I love about it is that it works really well as a standalone title. So that way, if you do like it, now they're making it more accessible to get the older titles, right? They're doing the reprint of 1. So I'm in this space with this game where I'm like, I don't actually know if the game is good because it's so fun, if that makes sense.
That makes it good, right? Or
right.
Explain that distinction.
Does it?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I have a monkey brain when it comes to certain things about what I think is fun. Like what Matthew was said, it's so over the top. It's flashy. If you think something is sexual, it is. That kind of stuff. I'm like, it's triggering all of the like dopamine, like serotonin triggers in my brain. And I'm like, I don't actually know if this game is good, but I'm having fun.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, like, I do think it's a good game. I just, Bayonetta is definitely for certain people. 10 years ago, I didn't know if I was that person. I am very much that person now, being that person probably about 5 years ago, right, for this franchise. But with that knowledge, I know that the games aren't necessarily for everybody. But like, if you like action and you like sexy dominatrix, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm like maybe one of those people. I think that like platinum games aren't for me, ultimately. You know what I mean? Like, I like action and I like sexy booba lady, but it's like, I think for me, I don't know, it's really hard for me to play these games for some reason. You know what I mean? It's like, I never get like sucked into these games. And I think maybe it's something about like the pacing, like early on. But I know, like, I've been playing a little bit of Bayonetta 1 at the same time that I'm kind of also playing Bayonetta 3. And they're really similar in so many ways. I mean, like, obviously, I mean, any sequel to a game is going to be similar, but it's like, down to the way that like the cutscenes happen and like the prologue going into like the early game and shit like that. And it's a lot of broken up cutscenes, especially early on. Like just like the formatting is exactly the same, even down to like the bugs that happen in this. Like, I'm noticing the same bugs. Like, I've been playing the Wii U version on my Steam Deck. Actually, I've got Bayonetta 1 and 2 on Wii U, but it's like, I don't want to fucking plug in my Wii U and play it. I'd rather just like play it on my Steam Deck. Right. And so it's like, so I've been doing that, but it's like, these weird bugs where like the cinematics will get like behind the audio or like go out of sync. Like, I noticed that when I was playing Bayonetta 3 as well, when I like put it on my TV after being in handheld mode. It's like a little thing like that. I don't know why I'm getting so into the nitty gritty of this right off the bat. You just asked about overall impressions, but it's like, it's like, I don't know. I just don't know what it is about these games where it's like, I mean, I get that they're super fun and I'll tell you what I do love. I love the super bespoke action sequences that happen that are there for like just this moment of the game, and they designed the entire thing around this one bizarre action sequence that never happens again.
Yeah, have you gotten to the kaiju fight yet?
Yes. Yeah. Which is super fun, right? Like I enjoyed that. But it's like, but it's just I think that's one of the cool things about it, right? Is that they put all this time into something that's going to happen once just to be super flashy. And then you get hit with another random thing that is just as flashy. I don't know. I just need to stick
That's
with
what
it.
I
Maybe
love
if play
about
more.
it. Yeah. It's just this one flashy experience, then you never see it again. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to say, I tried to avoid spoilers before this game came out for the most part. The only thing I really knew was that this new character, Viola, was going to be in there. And I was like, great, I'll find out why she's relevant when the game comes out. When I don't feel like this is spoilers because it happens in the first hour when they start, literally they use the word multiverse.
Yeah, it's a multiverse.
And I held my breath at first. I was like, another fucking multiverse thing.
Yeah, it's kind of big right now.
But then you, as soon as you learn that it's literally just a vehicle so they can deliver all of these different kinds of Bayonettas to you, I was like, oh, this is literally just like a tool so they can have even more like flashy designs and more gimmicks. And that's what is fun about it, is you get all these different kinds of Bayonettas. I just think they're all very sexy and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played this game, but I decided that I was gonna try to play it this afternoon, but I couldn't. And instead I was like, I'm gonna look up some stuff about the game, and I found some serious spoilers. So I'll keep my mouth shut because I read like in-game spoilers today.
Oops.
Patrick.
It was the first article I found that like looked interesting, and then it basically was like a whole it's actually really worth talking about, but we can't talk about it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
We can do a spoiler episode later.
Yeah, except I won't have played it. I'll have just read them.
We love that kind of discussion point, Patrick.
No, that would be terrible. So yeah, like when you're saying that, like you think it's fun but not good, I'm really intrigued by this. Is this like?
I'm not saying I don't think it's good. I'm saying I don't know because I am so distracted by how fun it is.
If we were to like compare it to like another medium, would it be like something that's like a big blockbuster movie or something like that, where you're like,
that's
it
a
maybe
good comparison.
Isn't like a huge, I don't know, summer action flick where you're like, that was super fun. I don't know if it's like high art or like something like a book that goes really viral, like the Da Vinci Code or something, or that's not like great literature, but it was a fun read or something like that.
I've always thought that Bayonetta is the Da Vinci Code of video games. What about like, I feel like a good comparison would be like Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Like that is not a good movie, but it's very fun and kind of
I have very distinct memories of going to theaters and seeing that movie, and the whole time being like, "Wow."
Yeah, it's a lot of
that
spectacle.
was 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I feel, you know, and I might be wrong there, but I think that it feels something like that, where it's like this is supremely stupid in so many ways. I think, you know what I mean? I think it's just in the way that they get off on being completely over the top, right? Like, which is not a bad thing.
No, that's what makes it good.
Yeah, it just is what it is. Yeah. So something that I do like about the series that I'm also confused about, and maybe Summer, you can actually help out with this, is I like all the heaven and hell stuff. Like I like that you're kind of like in between what is it, Inferno and
right
and Paradiso.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And so it's like, so all the enemies like will either be from one of these two factions, right? And it's got this kind of like biblically accurate angels vibe.
That's one of my favorite things about Bayonetta 1 is like those are the first enemies that you encounter as you're in a graveyard, and here comes some biblically accurate angels, and you're like, oh, this is not that these are bad. Actually, we need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Well, that actually gives me a good question, which is I've never played a Bayonetta game. Maybe somebody listening is like me. What? I mean, I know a little bit about it from watching trailers and stuff, but like, who is Bayonetta? What is the like basic short?
Explain the lore. Give us the story.
Insert crack knuckles sound effect.
So what you need to know, that's the thing too, is like, so the plot and story of 1 and 2 is effectively like, in 1, you find out that Bayonetta is an umbral witch and finding out what that means, and finding out that she and Jean are the only surviving umbral witches of the witch hunts from how many years ago. And they're basically, like this middle power, kind of keeping a balance of things from heaven and hell. And making sure that they don't, destroy everything, give or take. But that's not actually important. That's what I love about it, is like, you don't need to understand any of that to know that Bayonetta hot, big booba.
Right.
Well, then what? What is the?
There's
core
one thing we can all
gameplay?
agree on. It's Bayonetta hot, big booba.
Well,
Yeah.
then maybe the other question is like, okay, so that's the setting, but like, what is the gameplay like? It's super fast-paced action.
Yeah, it's action. You've got combos. You don't have to necessarily memorize them. Maybe you'll find a couple of different combos that work for you. Bayonetta in all what's been consistent across all of the games, she wields guns in her hands, and she also has guns on her as part of her heels. So she's got kicks and punches and shooting mechanics, and you combine all of those for different combinations. In the new installment, so this game, you also have your demonic companions that you summon, and she does her little dance to control them. That's new and fun. All the different weapons and customizations that you can do. And like, sorry, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
No,
Something
go
I
for
really enjoy about this game is how early on you get some of the new weapons and how much you can customize them, and how easy it was to shift between them. I feel like the tutorials in this game are a lot clearer than they were in the first 2. Because I remember playing 1 and 2 and kind of having like a harder time, like eventually figuring it out kind of through button mashing and being punished. But in this game, I feel like the tutorials are a lot clearer to understand. And now I'm like, I feel like I can go back and play 1 and 2 and maybe be better at them because of 3. Because of how well it, like, I actually remember that I can shift between weapons really quickly. If I recognize that I need to do a different kind of input to take out certain kinds of enemies. Whereas in the first game, I was just like die 15 times in a row and not figure out, oh, maybe I should change my weapon. I feel like I'm figuring that out better. So yeah, in addition to that, this game also has kind of more minigame-esque asides. So Jean, the other Umbral Witch, she's got like these infiltration missions. It's like a side scroller that I personally actually really enjoy. I think they're a lot of fun. And then you can also do like these side fights. Like you can find like extra missions basically, and they grant you extra items.
Yeah, those kind of felt almost like shrines in Breath of the Wild, right?
Kind
Where
of,
it's like,
yeah.
or like the grottos or something that you kind of go down into. Yeah.
Oh, and this is the part where I mentioned, since you brought up another game reference, I do want to mention here. So Halos are still present in Bayonetta 3. They used to be the main currency. Now they're like a bonus currency for special items. But Halos are basically Bayonetta's sonic rings. Like they are like the same.
They look exactly the same.
Well,
Yeah.
it's I don't know that it's headcanon or if it's like a confirmed thing. It's like a heavily like assumed thing that they're the same. Like it's Sega. It's like
Yeah.
This is adult Sonic, and like people have compared like the plot lines from Bayonetta 2 and like Shadow and stuff. So saying that like there's enough similarity there. But I just wanted to mention that. So now like the main currency is actually embryos. They don't just look like embryos, they are embryos because the main enemies are like these humanoid things. And when you destroy them, they like turn into like tiny little embryos, and that's what you use as currency.
As you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All been there.
Oh, that actually, okay. I'm going to hold on to that thought.
Sure. Well, let's talk about some of these individual mechanics, because I do think the like whole infernal demon mechanic is really cool. and a really good addition to this game. And I think this game in particular has a lot more of the big giant enemies that would pop up every once in a while in older Bayonetta games, right? Like there's a lot more of them. And I think the reason is because you can summon these giant demons to fight against them kind of on your behalf. And I think the thing to me that works the best about this is it's not like a summon in Final Fantasy or something where it's like you press the summon button and then there's a long cinematic and then he shows up. Like they pop up immediately. Like if you hold
and you're still
ZL,
controlling them too. You have to. They get their own set of attack commands. They're on the screen. You have to figure out what they are immediately. Like not always a tutorial. It's just like, okay, here's what the attacks are. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Which I like that because I think it's good for the immersion because not everything needs a perfect explanation, right? Like, you know that A, X, and Y are going to be your attack buttons and sometimes are. And they're really smooth transitions into a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed. It's like that, like these monsters must be loaded into the game data at all times because there's like no loading when they come up, you know, it's just like instantaneous, you know, so it's like I think that speed of it like adds to making it really fun and kind of spices up the combat, right? Because I'm like maybe I'm just not far enough or a big enough Bayonetta player at this point, but I still very much just mash fucking buttons when I play Bayonetta.
Yeah, and that doesn't always work. Like sometimes it's okay, but when you get to certain enemies, like dodging and activating witch time is almost like necessary.
Right. Maybe I should clarify and say that I dodge and then mash all the other buttons. Dodging is the only thing I do purposefully. Everything else is like.
Part
I'm
of
just bad at combos.
The button mechanics are there's a training mode in the loading screen. And on the loading screen, there's a training mode and has a command menu to the right side. And to the right of the command menu, it will tell you how many times you've activated that particular combo. So I feel shamed when I've seen the main combo, all punches, 5 or 6 punches in a row being like 55. And then like my basic kick combo being like 20. So I feel shame, but also like it's a fun game to play.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask a clarifying question? You're saying that on the loading screen you can actually practice the combos?
Yeah,
that's been the same since Bayonetta 1.
I didn't know that. And it gives you the stats that you use in that section or in the whole game?
In the whole game. It keeps count of the combos that you activate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so every time that it's a loading, you get like that's what you're doing during the loading is you're transported in this little training mode.
Like a purple void.
Yeah, and you can stop the load to stay in training as long as you want, and that's where I learned how to play the game because I've never played a Bayonetta before.
And that's how you can learn combos.
Yeah, and it's great. And like David, what you're saying, I agree. All of the infernal beasts are like so they activate so quickly, and I look at these like the infernal beasts and all of the main weapons and all the weapons that you acquire. All of these are just add on to the combo system. There's like so many options and so much flourish and style as you chain all of these different attacks together, from the infernal beasts to the weapons to jumping. There's so many combinations.
My question is, like, watching the trailers and reading a little bit about this game, are there segments where I know you've now said you play as these giant beasts, but are there segments where you play as other characters as well?
Yes. Yeah. So Jeanne is a recurring character. She was the character that like Bayonetta 2 was kind of more about like saving her. And the other surviving Umbral Witch, you get these side chapters where you play as her. Different kind of it's a side scrolling like stealth mission. So completely different gameplay. But then this new character, Viola, you're going to play as her in some of these main chapters. The types, like the combat is effectively the same. She's got her own. So instead of wielding guns, she's got a katana and she's got like her throwing darts. And then instead of having a bunch of different demons, she has her giant cat who rides a unicycle, Cheshire.
Cheshire.
I would die for Cheshire. I've only had Cheshire for a day, but if anything happened to Cheshire, I would kill myself and everyone in this room. He is so cute because I just got to the chapter where you actually control Cheshire for a longer mission. And I was like, wait, he's so much quirkier than I expected. Like he's got the same, like he's got a drag, like how Cheshire is usually depicted in most like variations. But when he like blows, like instead of smoke, that's how he does his like fire breath attack. It's just really cute. He's like, oh, let me take a quick smoke. Just kidding. I'm burning this village down. It's really, I love him. He's really,
it's very weird. It's just like so weird and bizarre. And I think that's maybe why it's hard for me to latch on to these games, is that it's almost just like,
that.
It's like overload. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like that would be great for your brain. Like,
yeah, I guess. But it's almost like it's too much to where I just kind of glaze over. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. Maybe I need to like actually give it the time to like actually let one of these games sink their teeth into me. I think trying to play both Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 3 at the same time was a fucking mistake. But it's like, I just think like I haven't been able to get to that point because I just keep like looking at my phone. But I think that's on me.
Listening to y'all, it strikes me as one of the major aspects of this game, the appeal, the variety.
Like variety of gameplay?
Yeah, like the variety of gameplay, the variety of types of fights you encounter. Or
yeah, I feel there's like lots of novel experiences. You have your core action loop where you're fighting these smaller enemies to medium sized to larger enemies, and then you have these 2D sequences, and then as Summer, as you alluded to, there's these 2D fighting sequences which are like a kaiju battles, which are cool.
There's like a elevator. What's that game? Like
elevator action
levels, basically.
Yep.
That's literally you have to get into the elevator and go up and down, or you don't have to get into the elevator. You can just jump on top of it and then, go move that way. For me so far, like my favorite thing about Bayonetta 3 from the previous titles is, I'll just say, the variety in the Bayonettas. I love that they came up with this goofy ass excuse to come up with all these other designs and all of these other combinations. I'm obsessed with all of the designs. I'm obsessed with photo mode now. I think we were talking about how almost all the assets have to be loaded, I think, at all times. And I think that kind of got confirmed for me when I realized like the full immersion of like the costumes and how there's so much that you can alter with Bayonetta and Viola's looks as the game progresses, from the specific costumes to accessories to different colors. And all of that is seamless through all of the cutscenes. So like with how well the game is running for a Switch game, and then for all of that to be seamless, and then to be able to pause at any time and then enter this photo mode where you can then like edit everything even more. I was really impressed, like graphically, I guess. Like obviously it's not a PlayStation or Xbox game, but like for this kind of a game on the Switch, I guess I'm impressed with the whole, like the cutscenes and the gameplay are like seamless into each other a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know. And it keeps you on your toes because sometimes you think you're in a cutscene and oh no, you actually need to press X like now, or then just kidding, like you're dead because you didn't press X during that cutscene.
Or you rotate the joystick in order to get max points.
Which I have to like go like this, by the way.
You gotta palm that shit.
If I'm going to get that gigaton, I have to go like this. I also like, if I have to press the button repeatedly, I got to go like this. I can't do it with my thumb. I've got to like
spasm your hand.
I have to make sure that I pick up on it immediately to like, otherwise I won't get it.
Yeah.
Is it a good time then to talk about the look of the game? Like, because you mentioned it looks really great for a Switch game. How do y'all feel about the graphics and the visuals.
Way better than 1 and 2. 1 kind of had the Vaseline filter.
One was from that era where every game had to be like brown and gray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think the character models and animation of all of the main cast, including the several Bayonettas, look great. Some of the human looking characters that get killed in these giant sequences, they look like Xbox 360 models.
Mm-hmm.
But you see them for a quick, brief second,
Yeah,
but then they get wiped away by a wave, so it's fine.
I almost wonder if part of that is just to accentuate that they're not important and to emphasize how important Bayonetta and beautiful Bayonetta.
Yeah, it's like
it's an art design choice.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like in Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, where like all the people in the city are just like gray, kind of featureless, like cutouts of people, and they walk through. It's like, don't pay attention to them. They don't fucking
Right. I think that's part of it.
So it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I
It's
think
a shame.
Yeah. Thank you.
For what it is. I mean, I think of there are times where it's like a bit, like I think like Bayonetta 2 almost like looked better at some points, like in some way, just in like the like environment designs and stuff like this. I almost also feel like this game was originally meant to be like more open world than it is.
Oh, that's one of the news thing I meant to say. I've been reading that in the news, right? That's what they said. That's why it took
some of
so
the
long.
environments feel a little
like they're big and open, but then you just can't go to some things, right? And it's like I feel like I do think that, and you feel it when you're playing the game, is that it's like pushing the Switch to its absolute fucking limit. You know what I mean? And you can see it if you look at like tech breakdowns of this game, right? Like it's not like the game has an unlocked frame rate, but never gets to 60 frames per second. It's always hovering around 30 to 40 frames per second, which, is to each their own. Some people that's not going to really bother. Some people are really bothered by frame pacing, whatever. Right. But it's clear that, the Switch is like, it's like, oh, let's go. Like, please, I'm trying to make this game work. You know what I mean? And so that's going to come with its own issues. Right. And I think, I feel like this game would probably soar on like PC or something like that, right? Where you have like a lot of graphic settings and you can fix stuff up. But for what it is at this point in, a almost 6-year-old tablet with like phone for hardware in it, basically, like it's pretty fucking impressive for like what it's doing.
David, you mentioned that you kind of noticed some hiccups when you were shifting between playing in handheld and playing in docked. Can I ask, were you playing more in handheld or docked?
It's when I started in handheld and then moved it to docked.
Right.
During cutscenes, especially, is when I found all of a sudden it was this bug that I get on when I play on Steam Deck Bayonetta 1, where like the visuals are like a second behind the audio or something like that, and everything like goes out of sync. Yeah. Also, I think this game is kind of not great in handheld.
So I've only been playing it in handheld, and I think
really?
It's great.
Maybe it's just me then.
I have a smooth brain, and anything with a lot of camera controls, I have to play handheld because I'll get sick really fast if I play it on a larger TV. And I think it looks great. I don't know how different the OLED would make that, because that's the Switch that I'm playing on. But I'm like almost only playing it handheld. And that's why I was
funny.
asking, because I think it looks
I'm usually the
great
opposite
handheld.
too. That's funny. But I don't know. I guess it was just like, we're just getting to a point where it's like, no, I mean, every first party Nintendo game, and this is dubiously first party, right? This is like a 3-way between Platinum, Sega, and Nintendo, right? But like, there's just like never any anti-aliasing and like any Nintendo first party games, right? And that's just kind of what they do to save on like memory bandwidth and everything like that. But for me, it really shows in handheld. But it's definitely, clearly that's just a difference of opinion there.
I think maybe if this is a good time to move over to the cons. Summer, you were just talking about some of the camera controls. I think in these exploration parts of the game, the camera's hard to control. There's a lot happening sometimes in the battle sequences too. It's difficult. Bayonetta is so small compared to some of these larger creatures.
Yes.
It is hard to figure out when, if I dodging at the right time, or when I should be attacking, or if my my attacks are causing like a break from the character. There's a lot going on, and it took me probably a good hour to like understand the pacing of the game, to understand the pacing of the action sequences.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I do think that Bayonetta is oftentimes like 3 pixels tall on the screen. You know what I mean? Like, and then there'll be like a giant monster that's just kind of like dithered in front of her. You know what I mean? And so it's like technically blocking her, but they kind of do this thing to where it makes sense with the camera stuff. So it's like, well, it ends up being functional. It's not like the most attractive way to have dealt with something like that, I think.
What about other aspects of the game, like the music? Is it notable?
Yeah, the music's really fucking good.
So I was excited to find out what if you don't know this, Bayonetta's battle theme in the first game was a cover of Frank Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon, and then in Bayonetta 2 it was a cover of Sinatra's Moon River. So everyone was like, oh, what song is it going to be this time? And this time it's Moon Serenade, which I didn't know the original. I had to listen to it. And then just out of curiosity, I was like, well, hold on. How many Frank Sinatra songs have Moon in the title? And there's like 20. So we've got at least 17 more Bayonetta games now that we know can happen. And the battle themes though, and there are a couple of original vocal songs in this one too. I love the song that plays when Viola has her fights. It's very like 2000s emo punk, and it like the tone shift in the music from the sexy big band jazz numbers with Bayonetta to the no mom, it's not a phase kind of music is really really helps like build the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. And I like what, because all the music that isn't like character themed genre stuff is also really good, I think. Like it's got this like great like driving element to it. And then when it becomes one of the character themes, it's almost like it's like you're like going home to this, like, you know what I mean? Like as soon as the jazzy stuff starts coming in, you're like, fuck yeah, it just gets me hyped. I do like that element of it quite a bit. It's just adds to the goofiness of the whole thing.
Right, exactly. Like this whole world that they've built. I love, music is really good.
Another question, like, so it sounds like it's sort of big, fun, goofy, whatever, but does that mean that you're not that invested in the story, or does that mean that you are invested in the story? Like, are you just trying to get to the next big gameplay moment, or do you care about this story?
I don't not care about this story. Like I will say, like, even though it's multiverse, I feel like the story isn't as convoluted as 1 and 2. So I like that it's easier to understand. Oh yes, we have to find all the different Bayonettas, and we have to get all the Chaos Gears, and again, Sonic. We have to the Chaos Emeralds. We have to get all these Chaos Gears, and we have to find this scientist. And I kind of like that it's easy to understand.
We have to find Dr. Man-Egg.
Yeah. So, because then it lets me just focus on. Like I'm not ever gonna. I don't feel like I'm getting lost, right? Like as a recovering Kingdom Hearts fan, I really enjoy like knowing what's going on in my video games.
No, that's fair. Like, so it maybe isn't the best story ever, but maybe that's kind of good, or maybe, or at least maybe it's
not like, bad.
It's not about the story, so that at least it's clear or something like that, or at least it's simple enough.
That's kind of how I'm feeling about it.
It's for me, it's a turnoff for me, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's like I think it's part of the reason that I get so glazed over. You know what I mean? Because like the action is fun, but it's like constantly punctuated by these cutscenes that just make no sense to me. You know what I mean? Like I just don't understand what's going on, so I can't get invested. You know, and sure, I think if I just sat and just forced myself to play it more, like
And paid
like
attention.
yeah, and like forced myself to pay attention, but I just am like, okay, like what are you even fucking talking about? Like I just can't get behind it. And that's totally fine like if you're into it. And it's like I'm sure if I read a wiki or something and got like a little more like interested in the world, but it's like to me it's just such nonsense that like it like I just don't like for it would be like one or the other, right? And that's why I like the parts of the game where they're just like pumping out exposition as you're like a giant dragon like surfing on a building going, you know, like at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's like, cool, at least I can like listen to what you're saying while like mindlessly jumping over shit. You know what I mean? Like, but when I just have to kind of sit there and like, I don't know, I guess I just don't care that much about the characters, right? And so it's like, it's hard for me to become invested in the plot when I just have no idea what's going on. And I just kind of want to get back to the gameplay. So I guess that's just that pacing for me that makes it difficult. I'm really not, I don't want to shit on this game. Like this game is fun and good. I just don't know that it's like my cup of tea.
See, and when I think about games that have cutscenes that pull you out of the game, like I would say that Bayonetta does it really well with how the cutscenes are sewn into the gameplay. Like I don't ever feel like a cutscene goes on for too long. The cutscenes like seamlessly shift into the gameplay. So that might just say more about the kinds of games that you play. Like you're not going to pick up Final Fantasy 16 next year. Right. Like that's
or Xenoblade or something.
Right. Like games that literally have hour-long cutscenes. Like this is not that.
Well, I say this
as
a Metal Gear Solid fan at this point.
Which was why I feel like you would love Bayonetta. Like maybe you need to play Nier first and like still ease your way down that pipeline. But I feel like the longest cutscene in Bayonetta so far for me has been like 3 minutes, maybe max. And even then, like there's still some kind of command in there. I don't think they're actually that long.
Yeah. Well, teach their own.
Well, I will tell you, I'm not playing this game for the story.
No,
almost 0%. I'm to see this game, to see Bayonetta do some cool shit, do flips, shoot guns out of her heels, guns out of her hands, throw a fucking yo-yo attack, and see a giant demon. That's what I'm all for. I don't know. Like, if this were similar to a movie franchise, it's like a Crank, or something, some over the top action where you don't really need to care about the character, but there's enough lore in the Bayonetta universe you can really like dive into and sink your teeth into. What's Inferno all about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can collect all of the compendiums in the game and all these like there's tons of collectibles that you can then go back and read about all of the lore, and I love that because I'm like I know I will go back and read them eventually, but it's also not like reliant on completing the story. Unlike like Final Fantasy 15, like you had to read some of that stuff in order to actually know what was going on in the game. You don't have to read any of it. You can if you want to, like Matthew was saying.
I guess this is mostly for Summer then, but maybe anybody that asks us on this. But you said, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're kind of saying this is the best entry point into the series.
It's not that you can't start with the first one, but like. Just like with the state of games right now, right? It can be hard. It can be kind of jarring. Like I said, it's kind of got a Vaseline filter on the first one with how it looks. A lot of the movement and cutscenes, I feel like it's happening so fast and I can't actually tell what's going on the screen. And I think that's just because they had to do that because of the technological limitations back then, things like that. Bayonetta 3 is absolutely like you don't need to know anything from 1 or 2 to play it. The tutorials are, I think, a lot better than they were in the first 2 games, like understanding the gameplay. So that said, if you love this one, that's not to say that 1 and 2 don't offer anything for you. There's still going to be different experiences. And that's why I was getting excited what Matthew was saying, like, wow, I'm really enjoying this, but this is my first Bayonetta. Like someone like Matthew might actually, enjoy going back and playing 1 and 2.
Is it the best Bayonetta so far?
Yeah. Especially like gameplay, I think a lot of people had reservations about the summons. But I think now that I've actually played the game, I really enjoy them. And like, I think a big part of it is knowing how to use them and, developing their skill tree, making sure that you kind of know their combinations as well. Some people are saying they feel like it's personally tied for like with 2, because 2 did also have a lot of improvements from 1. A lot of what's good about 3 was good in 2. But I mean, I think it's prettier. I think the people that are torn about 3 being the best one are just, they miss her outfit from 2. I think a lot of people think that her outfit in 3 is too much of a turn away from her previous looks. I personally love it. I actually really like the twin tail look. And she's got enough other outfits happening in the game too that, like, if you don't love it, you can make her wear something else.
Can you dress her up as Princess Peach or Samus?
If you can, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, you could do that in the first game.
That was a big selling point of the Wii U versions. Yeah.
Kind of going on that topic where you mentioned something about tutorials earlier on. I struggled with trying to learn the mechanics of this game. I knew that there was a witch time when you dodge things, thanks to playing Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. But generally, this game does not hold your hand in its tutorials. You're going to get most of your time learning this game either playing in practice mode or in the loading screen, or just playing through the game. But like movement and jumping and like understanding that there are areas of the world to explore, that was surprising to me. It wasn't until like chapter 2 when I learned that it wasn't as linear as I expected, or as linear as the trailers show the game to be.
Yeah, it's not linear.
The story is linear, but there's all kinds of like side missions and like collectibles and like collecting the Umbral Tier, the familiars. Like you don't have to do a lot of that stuff, but it can be fun too if you're a completionist. Like I would compare it to like a Mario or a Sonic game, right? There's usually all kinds of little side diversions that you can do, but you don't have to, and it doesn't take away from the experience necessarily if that's not the kind of gamer that you are.
Yeah. But that's kind of what makes me feel like it was maybe once meant to be more open world than it ended up being, right? Like, because again, this game was in development for a long ass fucking time. I feel like they probably had a lot of ideas that they wanted to do and then came up bottlenecked on the Switch hardware with what they were actually able to do, right? But yeah, that stuff definitely feels like that to me. But
there's at least 17 more Frank Sinatra songs that have moon in them, I'm telling you.
Switch 2, baby.
There'll be plenty more Bayonetta games, I think.
Yeah, very good.
Well, maybe we should start winding this down. Like, what anything that anybody really wanted to include in this discussion they didn't get a chance to, or any final thoughts? I see Matthew and Summer both looking like they have something.
Summer, you go.
Okay, I know people are like tired of the voice actor discussions, but I have like a thing I want to say still. Mostly because there was something that David said in a previous episode and I'm going to, not confrontational, but just like, hey, I kind of want to address this.
Come at me, bro.
You said something akin to the whole, like when it came out that Helena wasn't being completely truthful. You said something akin to like people on the internet or just believing the first thing they hear. And what I kind of wanted to address that because I want to phrase it this way. Of course, I believed her when she first published those videos, because everything she said was believable. And because just weeks prior, it had been a big discussion online. It was Kyle McCarley, the English dub voice for Mob Psycho, and someone who presented his receipts and was being super public about how Crunchyroll was refusing to meet with the union, with SAG, to talk about union rates. And he said, I'm not going to be coming back to this role if Crunchyroll refuses to do this union meeting. And Crunchyroll did a statement. Like, I think they only talked to Kotaku, and they said that some actors may have to be replaced, and we hope that you still continue to enjoy the show, which told us that everything
Those
we needed
negotiations were short.
Yeah. Well, there were no negotiations.
Right.
They refused to have the meeting. They just flat out did not have the meeting. It did not happen. So this was like when she published this video, it was like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that really sucks. What I want to also address is that I don't think that people who like believed her need to be like lumped into this, like, I'm able to change my opinion when more information is presented
Oh yeah.
kind of thing. Right. And what I'm frustrated now by is that it's emboldened the misogynists on the internet of the whole, oh, you shitty women who like, or just people in general, like believing this woman, like, of course she lied. And this is why cancel culture is so like, as soon as people who like say that whole cancel culture line, like that makes me feel bad. That makes me feel bad. And I don't think people were in the wrong for believing her right out the gate. And
yeah, we want to believe when somebody says something, right?
Right. And it's shitty that
I believed her. I believed her at first.
It's shitty the way that everything shook out. But like in a big roundabout way, then with how everything did end up shaking out, I thought it was fun. So we all know that after Bayonetta came out, Helena then went and like linked the fundraisers, right, that she wanted people to donate to. And one of them was like literally an organization in Kentucky that just does like anti-abortion billboards, right? And once that became a known quantity, the voice actor for Viola ended up streaming the game and turned it into a charity stream for trans youth.
Yep.
So, and she was like, because this is what Bayonetta would actually want. And I thought that was really fun and rad. Like she cosplayed Bayonetta. She's like, I know I'm the voice of Viola, but I just love Bayonetta so much. And
following her on Twitter has been really fun, seeing how much she just like loves playing this character and loves the series.
And then and then seeing the rest of the voice cast, right? Because like everybody else stayed, right? And everybody else just being like, was so glad to return and reprise my role. And I guess like what I'm getting at with all of this is like I just I'm still able to enjoy this game. I don't even, I can hardly even tell that Bayonetta is voiced by a different person. Now,
Jennifer Hale does a great job in this.
All the other Bayonettas are purposefully made to sound different because they are like from different worlds. But like the Bayonetta that we know, I can't tell that it's a different person. Like she can be my Bayonetta. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
That's great.
I agree with you, Summer, in that like as soon as like the whole thing got so tired to me, and I didn't even like want to talk about it on the show anymore for the most part, because it was like, because the whole thing had become, see, look, I told you she was lying, she blah blah blah, and you're right. It's like as soon as it became clear that she was not telling the truth about the price that she was offered at the beginning, it just brought out like the worst in people, right? And it's like the same kind of shit like that you see again in like tons of fandom and like Star Wars fandom, and then and a lot of stuff that I dealt with the Masters of the Universe fandom whenever the Kevin Smith show came out, like all this kind of stuff. And it's like it's just so exhausting. Right?
I just felt like it would be remiss if I were to come on for this Bayonetta 3 episode and not address it in some way, but specifically to say like, do not feel bad for wanting to have believed her when she spoke out about it. But also like, do not feel bad for being able to change your opinion when more information is presented and being able to still enjoy the game. Right. I like at first, like just because of all of the weird press around it, when I was first asked to do this episode, I really like had to sit down with myself and I was like, do I want to be associated? Now that the game's been out for like a week and a half, I feel a lot better about it. The game is really fun. I'm not embarrassed about that at all. I'm like, okay, like one of my favorite prop designers, they make 3D models for stuff. They just published. You can buy the files for Color My World, her guns. I'm like, oh yeah, we are doing this. Like I'm in it now.
Yes,
Yeah,
it sucks that controversy happened. And yes, thank you.
Yeah, I wish it never happened at all.
Right.
The whole thing was so messy.
Right.
And dirty.
As soon as I knew that I was going to feel better about it, I went and got that art book, and I am so glad I did. It's so
For our podcast
worth
listeners,
it.
Summer is holding up the art book for Bayonetta 3.
Mhm.
Yes.
Matthew, what were you going to say? Thank you.
Yeah, no, just thanks for starting the conversation. I mean, this is what I think about a lot. It's like you have a reaction to something and you think something is true. It's like it's okay to be wrong. And then when you're presented with more information, you can change your opinion. It is an impossible task to try and be right or on the right side of things forever. It's such a hard thing to do or to say or to stand. People change and opinions change and never have heroes, trust no one. But it's just like a hard, ceaseless task to try and be right all the time. But it's also okay as you learn to like change your opinion and to be wrong or to have no opinion or just to like think things through. Yeah, all of that.
To me, that's the takeaway. Is like maybe sometimes it's best to just kind of let things happen. We don't have to always say something about everything.
Have an opinion
and I
about
say
it.
that as somebody who hosts a fucking podcast.
Hope everyone's voting this week, right?
Yeah, exactly that. If you're listening to this now, you better have fucking voted.
Yeah, if you did not vote,
Change your opinion and vote.
yeah,
next.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Because we'll know the results by the time this podcast comes
know.
out.
Congratulations to Beto O'Rourke. Wow, what a great one.
Back to the point. Anything else about Bayonetta 3? We should move on. Any final closing thoughts?
Summer, are you feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to keep playing this game as soon as this podcast is over. So I'm really enjoying it.
That's how these episodes go. I always want to play more after we talk about it.
Well, then we'll wrap it up. If you're out there playing Bayonetta 3 and there's something that we didn't talk about or something that you want to share with us, please do send us a note and maybe we'll shout you out next time. And then with that, we'll take a break and come back talk about the other games that we've been playing recently. Mostly I've been playing Splatoon 3 and like, honestly, I think I've played a few other games, but primarily that's all I do is play the game that I'm making and play Splatoon 3 when I need a break from it. I did play Pikmin 3 again. My son was homesick for a week and we replayed that. I think it's the millionth time I've played Pikmin 3. So Nintendo, I really hope Pikmin 4 is an early 2023 release.
And not a holiday release.
Yeah.
Right?
Because we are ready for it over here. I don't know if there's anything else. I played a little bit of Smash. I played a little bit of a lot of different platformers to try to do my recon, but that's about it.
I don't know if we talked about it last week, but it was a ton of fun sitting down and talking game dev with you when we played that game together. That was a fucking blast, man.
Yeah. I'm really in it right now. So yeah.
I'm really excited for Monochrome Heights whenever it eventually releases.
Yeah, I mean, quick shout out. Like, definitely, if you want to see me working on it, stop by my Twitch channel most weekdays. And also, like, I've got a version right now, which, you know, I wouldn't mind it getting more feedback on, but I'll have more levels very soon as well. So definitely, if you're interested to try it out, come join the Discord or send me a DM somewhere.
I've been playing Bayonetta 3 and Live Alive.
How far are you into Live Alive?
Ooh, I think I just 1.5 chapters. Despite the Discord saying I would complete it over several days, I have maybe completed the first one that everyone played.
The Ancient China.
Imperial
China.
Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I've been trying to.
So you're in prehistory now?
Yes, I'm in prehistory. Yeah, I've been memorizing scripts all week, so my brain is Does
Well,
it?
prehistory is perfect because there's no words.
Just fart and boner jokes.
Yeah.
My favorite. Let's
no
go.
dialogue.
That's why I play Bayonetta.
It's really-
Not quite enough farts in Bayonetta, I think. But yeah, I'll go
David,
next.
how about
I've been kind of like dipping into lots of little games here and there. I've been having a really bad attention span recently. It's been hard to stick to any one particular thing. But you know, been playing some Splatoon, getting ready for the upcoming Splatfest. Some Bayonetta 1 and 3, as we've been talking about during the episode. And then I've been trying out some like kind of weirdo, random, small little games. The Tori games. I don't know if you've ever played those. There's Tori 2 and Tori 3D, which are both on the Switch and on Steam. They're both like 99-cent platformers. Those are super fun games. I really enjoy those. I downloaded this game called Dreamwild because I liked the aesthetic of it, but for the life of me, I can't fucking figure out how to play it. So if you've played that game and know how to not die within 20 seconds, please DM me. That game is really weird. It's kind of like half this like kind of pre-rendered story-based thing and then half first-person shooter. Very bizarre game. And then other than that, I want to shout out my friend Gabrielle, who was on the show a bit ago, who pointed me in the direction of a game called Hylics, Hylics, which is like a really bizarre RPG that was made in RPG Maker, I believe, but has this weirdo graphic style where it's almost like Donkey Kong Country style, like pre-rendered 3D, but it's done with like clay characters and like almost like claymation in a strange 2D art style. And it's just got this really, really cool aesthetic, and the game itself is like super bizarre. So I've just been kind of like dipping into that and lots of like little weirdo art house games recently. But I've been having a blast just fucking around with that kind of stuff. Also Scorn. I played a little bit of Scorn too, which came out on Game Pass, which is like I think it's like an Xbox exclusive right now, because people said it was like H.R. Giger's Myst, and that got me right on board. So interesting.
Is it?
That kind of stuff.
Is it like Myst?
Kind of. There are lots of lever puzzles.
Oh, okay. I'm on board.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Summer, what about you? What have you been playing other than Bayonetta?
Still playing a lot of Splatoon as well. I am also extremely hooked. I completed my second catalog. But I am also I'm working through Fire Emblem Awakening on hard mode. So
Nice.
my biggest hiccup is I'm just like struggling with, because it's hard mode, I actually have to pay attention to who my pairings are because it's going to affect the child units. I've never cared about the child units previously because I've never played on hard mode before. And now I'm like, oh, I actually need to send the children into battle. I need to pay attention to who their parents are, which is weird. It's like breeding, but with actual humans. There's a reason there were only 2 games that did that. Anyway,
I've also entered the child soldier portion of Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. So I feel you on that.
yeah. And Pokemon Go. I played, playing that, I'm getting ready for Scarlet and Violet.
Yo, I'm getting pretty pumped for Scarlet and Violet myself.
Yeah. I took that Friday off just in case. We'll see.
It's leaked, by the way. So be careful online.
Yes, be careful.
Cool. Well, I think that does it then. Thank you so much, Summer, for once again joining us and talking with us about Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
Thanks to MilkyWay.co, does the website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, you can find me most places online as PDYX.
Hey, I'm on Twitter. Let's see for how long that social media platform will exist. But you can find, for now, on Twitter, Matthew, MATHYOU.
I am also on the Elon Musk parody site at monolithfiji.com. What? That doesn't make sense. I'm pretty much over on the internet at monolithfiji, so you can check me out there. And then what about you, Summer? Where can people find you online?
I am also on most platforms at Weebwitched, WEEBWITCHED. Yes, like Bewitched, but I am a weeb.
Very good. Make sure you check out Summer. Also been streaming again recently. That's been great to see. I hope you keep that up. Always enjoy tuning into your streams. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, folks, we are at Switch Headz on Elon Musk's Twitter. We are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheadz.com. And then we got the Discord, baby. Join the Discord. It's the best place on the internet. We do not accept anti-Semitism on our Discord.
Yeah, Discord's not going anywhere.
yeah, exactly. So make sure you join us there. And then we got a Facebook group as well, which is continually popping off with wonderful memes and all sorts of stuff you can find all over the internet. So make sure you join those. And that does it for the episode, guys. That's going to do it. Thanks so much for listening in. Episode 183. Can you believe it? We did the math with all the special episodes. We've done well over 200 at this point, and that is crazy. So I'm surprised and amazed all the time that we're still doing this show and that we love it so much and that it's still such a fun thing to do.
We have gotten a little behind the scenes, behind the curtain. Sorry to interrupt you, David. More like advertising in our email of like cross-promotional stuff. So I think we're doing something.
If you want some smooth balls, stay tuned.
I can't wait to smooth out my balls.
Yeah. We could all use them. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying.
Some of us don't have two.
It's funny because we have a company that's trying to help us smooth out our balls. And then there's another company that reached out to us that's like, we'll glue hair to your balls. So we're playing both sides of the aisle. Yep. But anyway, that's going to do it for our show, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you tune in next week. We're going to have a great episode for you next week. I can't wait until you listen to that one. But in the meantime, you know the drill. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Peace be with you. To all the troops out at sea and to those at home. We love you. See you next week. Bye-bye.